Hey guys, I'm going to be playing around with the coasters today with the 1.4 update. You can now change the coaster cars a bit, and I'm going to just throw a couple coasters down, experiment with the different ride and car combinations, see what's possible. I'm making this video just so you can walk through it with me. I'll also rewatch this and type out a list and post it in the down there. So I guess let's check it out. I'm just going to throw the stations down. I'm not going to do full rides, just to test. Maybe I'll come back later and play around a bit with them. So for the first one, we got the boomerang. Just going to hit done and go to customize. Oh, what's the prestige? I'll take a look at prestige in just a second because I hadn't noticed that. Okay, so this is the bolt. So you can use the normal bolt cars. Looks like the only other option we have for that is the Trident. Alright, let's turn on the prestige settings. See if that's a settings thing or if this coaster just hasn't been around long enough. I love that you can turn off some of this for some of the sandbox parks that I do. It'll be nice to be able to turn off ride breakdowns and guest litter. Just so I don't have to worry about that, but it's also, you know, part of the game. So it's nice that you can have it if you want it. You don't have to. So yeah, it looks like prestige is maybe something that is unlocked automatically. I kind of wish there was a tooltip there, but there's not. All right, so that is the boomerang bolt. I'm guessing for the boomerang trident, that's going to be kind of the same situation. Our other option is going to be the bolt, but we'll check that out. Yeah. So it looks like your boomerangs, your only options are the bolt or the trident. Alright, so it looks like maybe these are grouped by types. But let's see what Looney Turns can do. Customize. Oh, this one gives us a bunch of options. So we can do Looney Turns. I'll zoom a little bit so you can actually see the cars. We can do Anubis. We can do the Basilisk. The Barghest. The Enigma. The Invincible. Looney Turns, which is the default. Rage. The Sprint, which is kind of fun. It's nice that you can use that on something other than the Tiamat. The Werewolf, which is a pretty cool one. And the Zenith, which is one of the new coasters. Alright. Next up, we've got, it should be Aethon, which is a dive coaster. I'm guessing this is a pretty unusual coaster. Oh. I'm guessing we're not going to have a lot of options for it, but let's see. Oh. Okay, so the Aethon you cannot customize. That is the car you get. Alright, let's check out the Werewolf. Let's see, it may be that these are linked, so the same options we had on Looney Turns is the options we have on Werewolf. That would be my guess. Yeah, so the Anubis, Basilisk, Barghest, Enigma, Invincible, Looney Tunes, Looney Turns, Rage, Sprint 500, Tiamat, Werewolf, Zenith. So it looks like they're kind of linked into groups. So let's go ahead and take a look at which ones are in the Stingray group. So for the Stingray, we have the Boa, which is the 2 across, the Rival, which is the 4 across, and Stingray, which is the flying. All right. So let's check the. Well, let's check the free swing. Maybe there's another option. I'm guessing that that one's on its own. Oh no, that's interesting. So for the Pioneer, interesting. You can run the Anubis, the Black Falcon, the Basilisk, the Barghest, the Cloud Runner, the Enigma, the Invincible, Looney Turns, Pioneer, Rage, Sprint, Tiamat, which is fun because this is I think this is a kid-friendly ride, so it's cool that you can do a kid-friendly ride with the Sprint. The Tiamat, the Werewolf, and the Zenith. It's also cool that you can show the ride names now. So if we wanted to make a kids ride called the Sprint, we can use the Sprint 500. That's pretty cool. It's really cool. Let's see if you can. I'm wondering if the car changes whether or not this is a kid-friendly ride. I'm guessing that it doesn't. I'm guessing it's based on the coaster. I'll play around with that a bit and maybe post a video. I haven't really talked about it before, but the reason I got Planet Coaster is because I have a 2-year-old that is in love with roller coasters. We went down to Disney World, and so we rode the Goofy roller coaster at Disney World. He also rode the Flight of the Hippogriff at the Harry Potter world in Universal. And those were his first 2 roller coasters, and he loves them. So he started making me watch YouTube videos of roller coasters, like POV videos. And I obviously love roller coasters as well, so I was more than happy to do that with him. And then I bought Planet Coaster when it first came out, didn't really ever have time for it, but then it became a thing that he and I did together, and super fun. So now it'll be fun to be able to design have a few more kid options, even if the track options are the same. We can play with some new cars. Anyway, so the Bakasura, it looks like it is another one we cannot customize, which makes sense. It's a pretty unique ride system. So on to the next one. The Giga Invincible. I'm guessing we're going to have quite a few options. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, surprisingly not. It looks like we only have the Tiamat and the Zenith, which is again the new launch coaster, but we can use the cars on this, which is a chain driven. Actually, I really like this new car. It's sleek looking, and also very generic, so you can fit it into any kind of themed builds that you're doing. Coasters. What I'm really looking for. Alright, so this is the next Giga. This is the Rage. But what I'm really looking for is the ones where we can use the runaway train. I'm really hoping to be able to do a wooden coaster that's a runaway train. So the Rage, we can throw the Anubis, the Basilisk, the Barghest. Use the Barghest everywhere, and that's interesting. The Enigma, the Invincible, Looney Turns, Rage, obviously, the Sprint 500, Tiamat, Werewolf, and the new Zenith. Alright, next up, let's keep it daytime. I don't want to be looking at these in the dark. Sorry if your eyes had to adjust to that. I picked the Arctic just because I figured that would give us a nice, not distracting canvas, and I think I was wrong. I think the white is super glary and hard to watch, so I'm sorry about that. It was with good intention. Alright, so this is the Iron Fury, which is a cool looking car, but kind of not for everyone. Malice Unchained. I'm hoping, or sorry, Gnarler, Malice Unchained. Man, I was hoping for something a bit less. I guess we can throw the monster on there. I love this track, but, you know, really is only, you can only throw it in like a steampunk, or, I mean, I guess Wild West kind of works, if you have a Back to the Future land, but it's a very themey coaster car. So yeah, so the Gnarler gives us an option that's a little less themed. Malice Unchained is also pretty themed, but differently themed. And the monster is nice and bland, just the way I like it. So next up, what was that? That was the Steel, or that was Iron Fury. So next up would be Malice Unchained. Gonna guess it's the same options, but let's see. So we got, yeah, Iron Fury, yeah, same options. Iron Fury, Malice Unchained, Monster, and the Gnarler. Alright, next up, Steel Vengeance. This is the track on this is great. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see if you can swap it, since this was, it seems like was kind of a, yeah, so included at the behest of, I guess, what was this, Cedar Park? So they're not going to let you screw around with their coaster, which makes sense. Or Cedar Point, Cedar Park. Alright, Anubis. This was an option on a lot of other coasters. Let's see. Yeah, so quite a few options when you're using the Anubis. Let's see, you got the Basilisk, Barghest. Let's see if I can just Enigma, Invincible, Looney Turns, kind of the same group of Rage, Tiamat, Zenith. That same group. Alright, next coaster in line. After the Anubis Hypercoaster, we have the Equalizer Hypercoaster. And this one I haven't seen really showing up a whole lot. I love this car. It reminds me very much of, I mean, it's not the same type of car, but style-wise, it reminds me of Space Mountain, which was, I believe, my first roller coaster. Where we have like a Disney family. So there's the, you can use the Canyon Runner on that. It's still a steel track. I was really hoping to get that onto a wooden track. American Arrow. Yeah, we have a bit, my mom's obsessed with Disney, so it's kind of has been passed down. We live in New Jersey though, so I've been to Six Flags a lot more than I've been to Disney, but my first roller coaster was Space Mountain. Alright, so this is the Viper 1, and you have no options with it. That's the one you get, but I believe Viper 1, the car was an option on another track. You just can't use any other cars on this track. So a little bit of mix and match in there, but not with that track. All right, let's check out the Boa inverted two-seater. So customize it. We do have some options on this. Looks like it's just the Rival and the Stingray. So we can go from a 2 to a 4, or to a 4 flying. It's cool that we can use the flying on a few extra things. Alright, whoops, track rides, what am I doing? The Rival is more than likely the same, but we'll check it out. Yep, Rival, Boa, and Stingray. So those three coasters are all interchangeable among themselves. It doesn't look like they can be used elsewhere. Here we got our first junior coaster, and this is kind of another one that I'm interested in because it's a cool car, but it's a little overly themed. So it'd be nice to be able to build a kiddie coaster with some different options. Unfortunately, we can only swap one kiddie coaster for the next. So it looks like, whoa. So it looks like the Pioneer is actually our go-to if we want to build an all-ages ride with some of the more interesting cars. Otherwise, we're kind of stuck with just the Dragon and the Wendigo. Though I will check the Wendigo, maybe it gives us some other options. But it does look like these are pretty, these are kind of grouped. So if it's an option for one, it's probably the same options for the other. But let's take a look. Yep, unfortunately, we got either the Dragon or the Wendigo for kiddie rides, which is disappointing. But, you know, there are limitations. There's only so much you can do. They have to fit on the track. The passengers have to load correctly. It's understandable. Just, you know, wish it would have worked. All right, let's check out the launched Torque. And like I said, I'm going to go back later just to verify that changing the cars doesn't change the people who can ride it. So it looks like the Torque, we don't have any other options. Just got the Torque, which isn't a bad looking coaster, but it's a little a little dramatic with those flames, but you can make them disappear almost entirely. So if you want to untheme it, you can. And I do, typically. Alright, so the launched hydraulic. This is another interesting one because I really like these cars, but I'd like to do a launched hydraulic with different cars because I want to make a, with the billboards, I want to make a flash ride that has some clips from the TV show, and the race car doesn't really go with it, but the Tiamat would go with that very nicely. I mean, I guess I could always just use the Zenith, but the Tiamat or Invincible would work nicely with a flash ride. Just very minimal theme. Alright, next up, after the sprint, we have the new one, the Zenith, and I actually want to look a little bit more to see what the difference is between this and the sprint as far as ride performance. My guess is this is more like King Ka, so slightly different launch and probably a little faster, a little taller. King Ka is one of my favorite coasters right now. It's so short, but it's just such a great ride. Oh, and I completely forgot what I was doing. That's how taken I am with the. Alright, so this one actually doesn't have a lot of options. I'm surprised you can't use the Sprint 500 on this. Like I said, there's similar rides, so there's not really a point, but you know, kind of just assumed it would be an option. I don't think you're missing much. You have a hydraulic option for the Sprint, and you can use it so many other places now, so it's you're not going to miss it being able to use it on that. The D-Gen, you can throw the Canyon Runner on there, you can throw the Equalizer, the American Arrow. The Canyon Runner is again this runaway train type, and I'm hoping there's a Woody that'll fit it, but not looking good so far. I guess I haven't gotten to the wooden, so. But you know, it's on all these steel rail coasters, so I'm guessing it is classified as a steel. All right, so American Arrow, same thing. Canyon Runner, D-Gen, Equalizer, American Arrow. Let's go ahead and on to the next one. And this, I think this is supposed to be the Great American Screw Machine, which is that was an arrow that was at Six Flags Great Adventure, you know, forever ago. It was around for a long time. It was I think the first looping coaster that I went on, and it beat the hell out of me. It was a fun ride, but it needed a bit more in the way of padding on the. All right, so same thing: Canyon Runner, D-Gen, Equalizer, American Arrow. See what the Tiamat can do. Alright, so for Tiamat, we have the options to go with the Invincible, Sprint 500 again, and the Zenith. it's kind of the standard array, it seems. Alright, down to the reverse free fall. Which is that's the last update. I haven't actually played around with this at all. Maybe I'll build one of these today. I've been meaning to, I just haven't gotten around to it. Nope, can't do anything with it. That's what you get with its dumb spoiler. But yeah, maybe I'll play around with this one. This one, kind of an interesting coaster. Right now I'm building a park that is very lightly themed. The theme for it is generic theme park. It has a theme. It's themed after Pennsylvania, so it's the little Main Street area is kind of themed and has miniature versions of some of the Philadelphia buildings and stuff, but the rest of it's going to be kind of just generic theme parks. So some light theming on the rides themselves, maybe the coaster stations, but no overarching themed lands or anything like that. It's kind of what a Six Flags would be for Philadelphia. Right, so this is the Basilisk. Our options are the Anubis, the Basilisk, the Barghest, Enigma, Invincible, Looney Turns, Rage, Tiamat, and the brand new Zenith. Alright, there are a lot of coasters, let me tell you. A lot more than it launched with. It's pretty impressive how much they've put in this. Even since I got the game. I think I got the game, I was a few patches in, or when I started playing, I was a few patches in, and oh, that was the single rail. That's actually more interesting because the single rails are really cool. And it's cool that you can have so many different types of rides on that. Yeah, that's cool. That's like the new Raptor and who's that? That's AMC, RMC. The Raptor and the T-Rex. That's the new Wonder Woman coaster, and I think there's one in up in Northern California that's launching. But super cool coasters. I'm excited to be able to ride one. I may have to go. I don't want to have to go to Texas, but I may have to. It's a long trip just for a roller coaster, but alright, so this is a spinning coaster. Let's see if there's any. Yeah, so we don't have any options for the spiral. It's I mean, not surprising. It's a very unique coaster, and most of the coasters on here are not built to spin. I'm guessing the Manic Mouse, which is the Wild Mouse coaster, is the same. I'm guessing we can't do anything with that. Oh, we can actually. We can throw the spiral on there, which is interesting. So we can throw the spiral on the Manic Mouse, but we can't throw the Manic Mouse on the spiral. Let's see what we can do with the Enigma, which is the stand-up. You can make it not a stand-up. So it looks like it's that same kind of group of coasters. The Anubis, Basilisk, Barghest, Enigma, Invincible, Looney Tunes, Rage, Sprint 500, Tiamat, Werewolf, Zenith. So, alright. The Star Loop. Power Coaster. It's kind of a... Ooh. It's kind of a weird coaster. The restraints on it are... I've never ridden a coaster like this. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be exactly. The power up, I do not know. I'm not like an expert on coasters, but I've ridden a lot of them. This does not ring any bells. But so you have the Anubis, Basilisk, Barghest, Enigma, Invincible, Looney Turns, the Power Up, the Rage, Tiamat, Torque, Zenith. So you have some options. The Steel Hydra, the Suspended. This is another pretty unique coaster. This is cool. I actually really like this and the Pioneer as like almost like scenic rides. I like throwing them on and having them kind of go around the park and just kind of a big sweeping layout. But it looks like you can swap it to some of the other hanging coasters. It looks a little bit weird when you do that because I don't know how they're getting up there, if there's a ladder that they bring out, because it's pretty high up there. You like have to climb. Chairs at head height. So this one I probably won't mess with too much, but again, there's the nice little name. You can turn on and off. It's such a nice little feature that they added. It's so minimal, but really cool. All right, so the Pioneer, or sorry, that's the Steel Hydra. The Pioneer's the other, suspended with the without a crane. All right, so the next up is the Barghest, which is one of my favorites. It's a really fun coaster to play around with. A lot of the drop on it's great. All right, so you got the Enigma, the Invincible, the Looney Turns. Some of these are interesting because Barghest is like a single car. So throw in like a double car and some of the longer cars really shouldn't work, but it's cool. The Looney Tunes is like a really wide car. Shouldn't work, but it's cool. You can try it. Sprint 500. The Tiamat. Yeah, like throwing the Tiamat through some of those the tight turns that you get on a Barghest is interesting. And the Zenith. Alright, the water coaster. This is one of the new ones. This is one I'm really excited to play with. So water coaster, so it's similar to some of the rides they have at, I know they have one at SeaWorld. I think they have one at, what's that, Busch Gardens. You can't really do anything with it, but you can color it. It would have been cool if you could have used the log flume, but obviously I can see why that doesn't work. The default model probably doesn't have any wheels or rails, so they would have had to kind of build a new model for it. But it would have been nice to see one without any theming. This will be great. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great Viking style rides on the workshop. I mean, there already are a lot of great Viking style rides on the workshop, but I'm sure there will be a lot with that Cascade coaster system. All right, let's see. I think we're almost done. So we've got the Black Falcon. I'm just gonna go through these pretty quick. It's a lot of talking for me today. I'm a pretty antisocial person, so there's more talking than I do in a week. All right, so let's see. We got the Black Falcon. We got the Basilisk. We got the Barghest. We got the Cloud Runner, which is actually pretty cool that we can throw the Cloud Runner on that. We have the Enigma. It's another one where it's interesting. Interesting to have to jump all the way up there. The Invincible. It seems very unsafe to get up there. Looney Turns. Pioneer. Oh, that's really interesting. That's very interesting. This is another option for the Pioneer, and this is a option that loops, correct? Yeah. So you can now invert your creepy stork coaster. That is exceptionally unsafe. But you know what? Give it a go. See if you can knock some peeps out. You can also throw the Rage on there. You can throw the Sprint on there. The Tiamat, the Werewolf, and the Zenith. Every time I see the Tiamat, I think somebody at Frontier must play Dungeons & Dragons. Although I guess it should be 5 people across for D&D Tiamat. I know there's like another definition of Tiamat. It's like a real life thing, but I really only know it as a Dungeons & Dragons bad guy. Alright. Alright, we're almost done. I promise. Alright, it's Cloud Runner. We've got the Anubis, Black Falcon. You've got the Basilisk. You've got the Barghest. You've got the Cloud Runner. The Enigma. The Invincible. You got Looney Turns. You got the Pioneer. So there's another option if you want to murder peeps. You can throw them onto the Cloud Runner and just twist it upside down. You've got the Rage, Sprint 500, Tiamat, Werewolf, and Zenith. And let's see, we're on to the wooden coasters. And this is where I find out if my prayers have been answered. Alright, so we got the, looks like we've got the Gnarler, Iron Fury, Malice Unchained, and Monster. So no wooden train with that one. Alright, we got the Monster. The Monster, Iron Fury, Gnarler, Malice Unchained, and Monster. So it looks like my dreams of a wooden runaway train are for naught. I'll have to keep on going with the Steel Vengeance, which is train-ish, but not really what I was hoping for. All right, so this is another one of the new ones. This is the Hop the Gaps. This is a side friction coaster. This is like an old style of coaster that is not used as much anymore because I'm pretty sure they kill people. No, so they don't actually. So what's kind of unique about them is that they, you can see they ride on top of the rails. They're not connected. So they can leave the tracks a bit. And just kind of the friction on the side of the tracks kind of keeps them in place. Can't do anything with it, though obviously you can recolor it, and it's pretty theme neutral. Alright, and I'm guessing the X Dimension coaster you can't do a lot with, or if you can do anything with it, you probably wouldn't, because the car is what makes an X Dimension kind of interesting. Let's take a look. You can throw one runaway mine train on that one. You can do the Degen Canyon Runner. You can do the Equalizer, or you could do it, make it as an aero coaster. All right, and that is all of the coasters in Planet Coaster currently, and all the options, all the kind of ways you can mix and match those. Look forward to seeing what you guys build with them. Hopefully this video has been useful for you, and talk to y'all later.